Oh my goodness.
I love that. I love the background. I absolutely love
that. What up, guys?
Ooh, is that the high school jersey?
No way, baby! In the USA.
Wow. That's dope.
Yeah. Do a little shout out to Shannon Sharp.
Team USA wouldn't give him number 23?
Nah, he didn't want it.
Oh, he wanted it.
He wanted
it. All right. Hey, before we get going too much, here it is for today. See that?
Nice. Very nice.
Yep.
All right. Are we ready to go?
Was MJ? No, it's not 8:15.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Last question.
Was MJ 23 on the Dream Team? I don't think he was he?
No, nope. 9.
Oh, he was 9?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so.
That sounds right.
I can see it. I don't know. For some reason, 9. But
Chuck, are you recording this?
Yep.
Good. All right. My agent wants to know. So,
I like your beard, Byron.
Oh, I've been under some social pressure to shave, so it's probably got 24 to 48 hours left.
Oh, I know how you feel. I know exactly how you feel. So, are we ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's see if this works. Today on Around the Corn, Vaughn wants to play in the NFL. Dak wants more money to play in the NFL. And Dunbar and Quentin want all your motherfucking money, bitch. Run that shit. Welcome, guys. I'm your host, Devo Reali. Today, our analysts are Byron in Salem, Charlie in Hillsborough, Jeremy somewhere in Washington. I'm not quite sure. Okay, let's get to it, gentlemen. We got a lot to debate here today. So, question number 1. It's being said that the Cowboys are offering Dak 33 to 35 mil a year, and he refused. Is he being greedy? Is his demands too high? Jeremy, let's start with you. What do you think?
Yeah, his demands are definitely too high. Initially I was like, I don't know, is he worth that much? Is he not worth that much? Quarterback's hard to come by. But when I looked up quarterback salaries, the guy making $35 million is Russell Wilson. Dak is not in the same ballpark as Russell Wilson, at least not yet. So you can't pay him the same as Russell Wilson. On top of that, if I'm Dak, it's a dangerous game you're playing. They bring in Andy Dalton on a $7 million contract. You know what? Andy Dalton's numbers, if you look at QB rating, are 106.3, 91.8, 86.8, 89.6. Dak is sitting at 86.6, 96.9, and 99.7. While it's a little bit higher, Andy Dalton's coming over from a horrible Bengals team. So I'd be a little bit concerned if I'm Dak that how much weight do I really have to be rejecting this 33 to 35 million a year?
Okay, I like that. Charlie, what do you got to say to that?
Man, I can't imagine Dak sitting there thinking the fucking Red Rocket is a threat. That is crazy to think. Wow. Yeah, I mean, dude, it's hard to tell. This guy, he had a chance to sign an extension early on, and he bet on himself. I mean, I don't know how he does it. I don't know how anyone in this position turns down that kind of money. But he's done it before. He's bet on himself. You gotta like the confidence. I mean, I kind of have a feeling that Dak's camp knows what they're doing. So, I think he'll get his money, whether it be around the realm. He'll either get this amount or he can beat that. So I don't really mind the move, honestly.
Wow, that's surprising. I think that's probably just some cowboy hate. But Byron, go ahead.
First of all, let me just say, I do think Andy Dalton might have a little something for Dak. Andy Dalton's a pro. He is a pro's pro, and I think if he gets an opportunity, whether because Dak struggles or an injury, I think he's going to turn some heads. Having said that, Dak should not be concerned about what he's getting per year, and that's what he's been talking about. I want 35, I want 40 million per year, 45. It's not what you're getting per year; it's what you get guaranteed, right? That's really what matters, because if that money ain't guaranteed, it's not worth the piece of paper that it's written on. That's what it comes down to. Kirk Cousins got blasted because he signed a $66 million deal. 3 years, $66 million. Every penny of it was guaranteed. And you might remember before this last year and coming into this next year, people were hating on Kirk Cousins not getting it done in Minnesota. That man is paid, and he's inexpendable. That guy has a job. So Dak focused on the guaranteed, not the per year. Having said all of that, yeah, he's crazy because he was getting about 105 million offered guaranteed, and that's a lot for a guy like Dak. Now, I'm surprised no one brought up his numbers. Dak had fantastic numbers this last year in the NFL, sterling numbers, unbelievable. But that's not what you pay for when you pay for a quarterback. Look at the top quarterbacks in the league. Big Ben, Breeze, Brady, Peyton Manning. You know, these guys are guys that are the face of the franchise. The fans stand by those guys through thick and thin. They buy in. They love them. Dallas hasn't done that with Dak. The fan base on Dak is torn. Half the guys wanted to trade Dak for Joe Burrow. Guys wanted to bring in Tom Brady. And when your fan base is torn like that, you can't give a guy $40 million a year. I don't care how good his numbers are. If you're going to put that kind of money behind someone, that needs to be the Dame Lillard of your franchise. That needs to be the Peyton Manning, the Tom Brady. It needs to be the guy that everybody rallies behind. And Dak just isn't that for Dallas. So, no, he's not worth that kind of money.
Yeah, so I'm surprised nobody brought up the latest news, too, is that he's claiming that he wants 45 on that last year. Now, that sounds crazy, but, I mean, I didn't look at the numbers, but I'm wondering, like, how much the jump was from salary from 5 years ago. 2 million a year doesn't sound crazy to say it like that.
Yeah, Dak was looking at Damian Lillard's contract, thinking the same thing. That's what Dame's what Dame's getting paid, so...
Okay. All right. Well, let's stay in the NFL with some of the craziest news of the week. Cornerback DeAndre Baker and Quentin Dunbar were arrested on charges of armed robbery. What do you think of that, and how will that affect their teams? Charlie, why don't you go ahead?
Well, it's not going to affect anybody until video comes out. That's how the NFL handles it. That's how the teams and the coaches handle it. So unless there's video proof of this that will really paint a poor picture of these guys, I don't see any effect at all, really. There might be suspensions, some small suspensions, but that's about it. I just love hearing these stories. I can't imagine what this comes to or why it comes to this point. I mean, these guys, they're not getting Dak numbers or getting offered Dak numbers. But we're talking $3 to $5 million annual salary for these guys, and I just can't. It's just a funny scenario to imagine these guys at a house party, being hood rats, basically. Florida man, I guess it is, right?
Yeah. All right, Byron, what do you think?
I had the exact opposite reaction as Charlie. And so, nothing excuses personal responsibility. You have to be responsible for your own actions. There's no excuse for that. But I just feel like time and again, we see these guys, professional athletes who are taken from these backgrounds that they're not prepared for fame. They're not prepared for money. They're not prepared for a sudden lack of money. And you put these guys in this situation. So many people have profited from them individually all along the way. The high school coaches, the college coaches, the coordinators, the head coaches in the NFL, the agents. There's been too many people that have profited from these professional athletes and friends and family, and for no one to step in to say, look, you need to get your finances under control. You need to get your behavior under control. For this to happen time and again with these professional athletes, it's sad. It is a letdown by the system, by everyone who's supposed to protect these guys, everyone who has profited and benefited from these guys, to not give them the guidance that they need. It's sad, and it makes me sad to see it. That's how I feel about it.
Well, surprising answer. Jeremy, what do you got to say to that?
Yeah, my initial reaction is, another offseason, another couple of NFL players get arrested for something stupid. The arrests happen every offseason. The only time it really is going to affect them is if there's really damning video evidence that comes out in the case of like beating someone else. For armed robbery, I highly doubt either one of these guys are going to miss a game. In the event that they do, I do think that, it poses a bigger problem for the Seahawks in a division where the Cardinals just got DeAndre Hopkins. The Niners have a good offense. You're expected to be, if not their number one, their number two corner. So anytime lost there would be a huge deficit to the Seahawks. The other guy, Baker, I believe he was a rookie last year, didn't make a major impact. So if he winds up missing a game or two, I don't see that being a big problem for a Giants team who you don't really expect to win any games anyway.
Yeah, I'm surprised nobody brought up in retrospect that he was the number one pick, and they traded up.
He was fourth rounder. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's crazy. And then how much social distancing was going on at this gambling party? Some of these allegations are pretty crazy, though. I don't know if you guys heard that he pulled off in the Lambo after robbing everybody. We know it was your Lambo. And he actually directed the guy to rob people with a mask. We told him to kill somebody, so I don't know if attempted murder, what that gets thrown in there or whatever. So yeah, that was definitely one of the craziest things.
Hey, I gotta disagree with Byron's point there. I mean, when does it end? I mean, these guys got to grow up and take responsibility for their actions at some point. They can't have. I mean, you kept saying someone's got to step in. Who's responsible for these guys? No one but themselves. So I mean, yeah. I don't know. It maybe they don't have the best programs out there, but at the end of the day, if these guys aren't surrounding themselves with the right people, I just don't know where that ends, where you draw that line.
I think judgment is something that isn't innate. I think it's something that really needs to be taught and ingrained as a practical matter. And there's just too many people who have taken too much from these guys and not given. That's how I feel about it. I mean, your point is well taken. And like I said, look, there's no excuse. Everyone has personal accountability for your own actions. And I don't care where you came from. I don't care, I don't care any of that. You can't commit armed robbery. I mean, I get that, right? But at some level, there needs to be more discipline, I think, ingrained in these guys. And maybe there wasn't, and it just failed, right? But we see too often for me to just accept it.
Yeah, you can't walk for 24/7. They're going to go out, right? So anyway, let's go to the NBA, start with the association. Or actually, no, stay in the NFL. What do you guys think of the new playoff format? How's that going to affect everything this season? Byron, I think you got this one first.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't like it. At first I did because I loved playoff football, right? And you give me two more wild card games. Playoff football is must-watch football. And so at first I was like, oh, that's fantastic. That's great. But there's a couple of considerations I think that really play in. Number one, I don't want to get football fatigue. I start to get it, I'll be honest. I'm a basketball junkie. That's my sport. And I start to get it with the NBA playoffs. It's 7 games in the first series. Usually by the second round, I'm not even watching, and I don't tune back in until the conference finals, right? So I worry about playoff fatigue. But more importantly, there's already 12 teams in the playoffs. We don't need 14 of the 32 teams. We don't need half the freaking league in the playoffs. We're trying to find a champion here. We're not trying to find, the good teams. We're trying to find a champion. And when you do that, you strip away a first round bye from teams that probably deserve it. Football's a violent game, and you have to worry about injuries. If this rule was in place last year, number one, you'd have the Mason Rudolph-led Pittsburgh Steelers in the playoffs. Give me a break. That's not a playoff team. It's just not. And on top of that, the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs would have lost their first round bye. And so Kansas City would be playing some bullshit wild card game against some fucking trash team, and you risk Patrick Mahomes or Tyreek Hill or some stud, someone on that team, Travis Kelce, getting injured. Right? Football's a violent game, and every time they take the field, it's a risk. And I don't like the best teams having to take additional risks late in the postseason, so I'm against it.
Yeah. Jeremy, let's say you.
Yeah, initially I was like, I kind of love and hate it, but I honestly lean more towards the hate in this one. Because it definitely gives the larger competitive advantage to the team in first, as Byron mentioned, with that bye and them being the only team with the bye. The reason why I don't like that is because if you get a New England Patriots scenario division where there's 3 junk teams, I mean, they've got 6 wins on their schedule already. I mean, you may as well just give them the first round bye. Did they earn it? Debatable. The other thing, Byron, you hit on it, is if this format was in place last year, the 2 teams that would have made it would have been the Steelers. That does nothing for me. And the Rams also does absolutely nothing for me. I don't like it at all. What I would like to see the NFL do instead is take away, if you win your division, you're guaranteed a home game in that first round. I hate the fact that a 9-7 Eagles team got to host an 11-5 Seahawk team. As much as I hate the Seahawks, that 11-5 team deserves to have that home field advantage, at least for the first game.
Charlie?
Well, I've decided that no matter what I have in my notes, I'll be going up against Byron and his opinions on every question tonight. So I'm ready for that. I like this idea. I think number one is the effect it'll have on the regular season is something I like. We talk a little bit about NFL about fatigue, and towards the end of the year, some of those top end teams, especially in week 15, 16, 17, a lot of times they're close to locking up that bye. You got 2 teams per division to give that bye out to. So, you may be in week 16 and a team like the Ravens, they've got nothing to play for. So that week, when you want to see it for your fantasy team, you want to see good football all the way through, even in the regular season. These guys are relaxing and taking it easy and coasting into the playoffs. So I like it for that aspect. And I don't think it's a big shift because you still got that number 1 bye. It's going to be a better race going on in the regular season. And then it's going to make the playoffs more entertaining because, sure, Rams and Steelers don't do anything for Jeremy, but he's not a Rams or Steelers fan. I mean, that's obvious. So, it's going to make for some good, entertaining football, and you'll see, some Cinderella teams come here and there and make some noise in the playoffs. It's just going to make it more interesting.
So real quick, so you're saying that the first round matchup, Kansas City Chiefs versus the Steelers, would have been entertaining to you?
Well, I don't recall Patrick Mahomes facing the number 6 defense in the playoffs. So actually, I'm not sure. You might have played a better defense, but that is a tough defense for him to go against. You never know. It's any given Sunday.
Anybody else? Got anything to say after that?
I let me just chime in to support Chuck's point. I wish I could refute it, but I like the idea of the NFL season being competitive up until the end. Because it's one of those things where, NFL football is going on into January. You get the playoffs and then the Super Bowl in February, but late season is still late December. And I do know that, and I've seen this, people get Christmas gifts or spend a lot of money to go to a week 16, a week 17 game. And for a lot of people, it's the one game they get to go to that year. For even more people, it's the one game they get to go to in a couple of years. And so to go to a Ravens game and they sit Lamar, to go to a Kansas City game and they sit Mahomes, that's fucking weak. And so I do support anything keeping it competitive through week 17 for the fans.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to be like the old guy and be like, oh, man, keep it the way it used to. You're going to mess up the stats or like this or that, But I'm not sure I'd like it. And I would really hate to see – imagine Patrick Mahomes getting hurt in that Steelers game. Like, as a Romo fan, I've always watched him get hurt year after year. And, God, that would just – that type of scenario would obviously suck. Mm-hmm. You look like you had something to say.
Oh, I just I was going to say something about the people pleaser there arguing both sides, but I don't know. It's all good. Back up those points.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. That's fired. I don't know where to go from there. Let's go to the association. Adam Silver is starting to look like we might get some basketball this year. CJ McCollum was on ESPN saying they should have a play-in tournament for the 8th spot. What do you guys think? How many games should we have before the playoffs start, if any? What are you guys' thoughts? Jeremy, I think that's you.
Yeah, real quick. Were we going to do the LeBron best position for football, or are we coming back to that later?
That was number 6 on my list.
Oh, okay. I just wrote down wrong. Okay. So, to answer your question then, as far as a play-in, look, I'm starving for anything sports related. I would absolutely be all in to watch a play-in for the 8th seed. Now, if you're the Memphis Grizzlies, you'd be pissed. You're in that 8th seed by like 4 games. You're looking like you're going to hit it if the regular season comes through, and now you're forced to play in a play-in tournament for that 8th spot that you look like you've earned. But if I want the best basketball team in there, obviously there's some Blazer bias, but if they're healthy, they've got a squad. Yeah, they could make a run if they get in that 8th seed. So for me personally, I'd love to see a 8th seed tournament.
What about games before? You think they should do some games before, a little practice, or you want to go straight into the playoffs?
No, if there's time, I don't know. When does this start? Do they have time to throw in a couple warm up games for everybody? If so, let's do it. Again, I want as much as I can get. The players probably want a few warm up games too. So yeah, if we can fit it in, I'd say do it for sure.
Charlie, is that you?
Yeah, it's funny to get this news report out from CJ McCollum. Obviously, there's a lot of incentive there on his opinion. So, if the Blazers were in the 8th seed, CJ McCollum's opinion would be different. So, I don't know. It's up to someone else to make that total decision. I don't think it's a big deal. What were they, 20 games out or something like that from completing the season? I'd like to see them do something close to that if they can. That doesn't seem like too much of a stretch. Maybe even reformat the next season if they're worried about crunching that time in. Try to reformat that second season as well. Otherwise, you just got to scrap the whole thing because you can't just lock the playoff teams in now. That's not how it works. No one prepared for this. For only playing 60 games, so everyone's coaching plan, their strategic plan is fucked. So, and play-in tournament, as fun as it sounds, you can't just come up with something insane like that. So I say get 15 to 20 games, play out the regular season, and then go to playoffs. Do it like it should be done.
Okay, Byron.
Chuck is partially right, partially wrong. Look, I would agree. If you can play the season out, go ahead and play it out. But don't tell me you can't lock in the playoffs now because some teams strategically might have otherwise acted differently. That's a bunch of fucking bullshit. And the idea of a play-in tournament, at first I liked, right? Because there's nothing better in sports than win or go home. There is nothing better in sports than that. That's what creates legends, right? The win or go home. But when I look at this situation, it's not win or go home. It's we're playing for the fucking 8th seed in the playoffs. I'm not even going to talk about it. And so what we're looking at is fairness. Who deserves to be in the playoffs? I'm not even going to talk about the East because they have 2 teams who will make the playoffs who have losing records. So really no one in the East deserves to make them. Really what this comes down to is the Western Conference. And we have the Blazers in the 9th seed trying to make an argument that, hey, we should have a chance to play in the playoffs because we would have made a run in these last 20 games. Blazers are 29-37. All right, they're 4-8 in their own division. It has no contenders in it. None. No contenders in their own division. I mean, to try to tell me that the Blazers deserve a shot at the playoffs is fucking ridiculous. The playoffs is not for little boys. The playoffs is for grown men. We're trying to find a league champion here, not someone that's 29-37 and can't even go 500 in your own weak ass division. So no, do I want to see a playing tournament? No, I don't. I want to see cut the playoffs to 4 teams per conference because that's all who belongs to be there. It's like a 5 seed is going to win the finals. Four on the West, 4 on the East. Let's ball out and let's see who wins. Period.
Wow, I'm surprised because I thought maybe with the shortened season they might give the 5th seed, the 6th seed some confidence that like we might be able to luck this out. You know, let's do this. Anybody else got anything to rebuttals?
Well, listen, I think strategy certainly does come into play here. You know, there are teams that are managing injuries, they're managing their players, they're managing their schedule. They absolutely are. Look at the Blazers. I mean, obviously, if the problem is if you came back to a season and you could play out the 15 to 20 games, that would benefit the Blazers greatly because they've had a lot of extra time for Zach Collins, maybe Yusuf Nurkic, to come in and help this team, which was a huge piece that's missing from this team. So, you know, but again, they were close to getting these guys back on the regular season schedule. And, you know, it wasn't over for them. Sure, maybe they might have just gotten in the 8th seed and they would have gotten swept. But, you know, we play to play in the playoffs and we got to see it through. So, would like to get the Blazers in there.
It's bullshit, if I may, real quickly. Fucking Zach Collins. If anyone else in any other state was watching this, they'd be like, who the fuck is Zach Collins? The real argument is the New Orleans Pelicans and Zion Williams, because the Blazers are 3 games out of the 8th seed. New Orleans is 4 games out, and they have been dominating since Zion came back. Zion is a fucking beast, and that is undeniable. So New Orleans has a legitimate gripe. Right? I think they can say, look, since we brought this dude back, we were on a fucking tear, and we were going to make the playoffs. Right? The Blazers, I don't buy it.
Yeah. And you look at Utah, Bogdanovich, he's getting surgery. He doesn't even want to play anymore, so what's that make Utah? Plus, they'll probably have all the drama from the whole coronavirus thing, too. Who even knows if they like each other anymore? So they might have eliminated themselves before the season starts. So, anyway, good one, guys. So, the last dance. It's all over. Bill, was it him or was it the players? How great of a player is he? Byron, I think, or actually, Charlie, I think that's you.
I mean, this is, you know, I don't know why we got to have debates like this. If we go back to week 1 of Around the Corn, the inaugural first-time winner, I got to talk a little bit about the Chicago's GM, Jerry Krause, and how the GMs get you know, underrated. Coaches get a little bit of the same thing as well. But that just comes with the territory. So, you know, it's these players that make the money for these teams. They get the endorsement. But again, I think people like you and me, real NBA fans, understand how to give guys like Phil Jackson credit. The question is just so hard to answer. I mean, obviously is one of the greatest coaches ever, if not the greatest NBA coach ever. But he was coaching the greatest player, if not the second greatest player. I mean, he just had squads, so it's very difficult to answer. But I'll just say in an edge, I think overall the management of these rosters and these teams are what really made these teams go.
Yeah. Byron.
Chuck is mostly right, but I'll help him make his argument because he can't seem to make it on his own. Phil does not deserve credit. The credit goes to MJ and one other person, Jerry Krause. It's true. And knock on Jordan was, well, yeah, he could score, but he couldn't win a title until Phil got there and Phil taught him how to win. That's fucking bullshit, right? Because people say, oh, Jordan was just a scorer. Phil made him more efficient. Not true. Jordan had his 2 highest scoring seasons of his career before Phil got there. And people say, okay, well, so he was a scorer, but he wasn't efficient. Not true. Jordan shot over 52% 4 seasons before Phil got there, 1 season after he got there. So Jordan's scoring more and more efficient before Phil got there. But then people say, well, that's because Phil taught Jordan to get his team involved. Bullshit. Michael Jordan averaged 6 or more assists 5 seasons before Phil got there, 1 season after he got there, and through 94 through 96, he averaged less than 4 assists. So Jordan is scoring less, he's shooting less efficiently, and he's getting less assists when Phil gets there. So it's not like Phil somehow brought up Michael Jordan or taught Michael Jordan how to win. He made Michael Jordan less efficient. But Jerry Krause surrounded Michael Jordan with Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc, and all of these ballers who made the playoffs. Keep in mind, the Bulls made the playoffs those 2 years when Jordan didn't even play for the fucking team. Right? And so Jerry Krause made the Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan was less efficient when Phil was there. I'm not even going to talk about Kobe and Shaq because everybody knows that those guys are 2 of the top 10, top 15 players in the league. Phil didn't revolutionize the league. No one has adopted the triangle offense after Phil. I think this boils down to a simple question. Would Jordan and Kobe and Shaq have won titles without Phil? I think the answer is yes. Would Phil have won titles without Jordan, Kobe, and Shaq? I think the answer is no. I think it's that simple.
Okay, Jeremy.
Yeah, so I think the coach is far more interchangeable than the star player. Case in point, Golden State Warriors, when they went on their run, who was not Steve Kerr, but the other guy that came in and coached them to a title? Luke Walton. Where the hell is Luke Walton now? I don't even know. Not to mention, when Cleveland finally got their chip with your boy LeBron, who was the coach?
Ty Lue.
Who?
Ty Lue.
Exactly. Okay, so it's the player. It's not always the coach. So I'm giving credit to MJ, who made all those shots. I'm giving credit to Rodman, who made all those rebounds. Pippen to make all those blocks. It's the players, not the coach.
Is it just an MJ hater tactic to give Phil some credit?
Phil gets no credit.
That's why I think that's why I give him some credit, just because I hate on Jordan. I'm like, I'll give some to Phil. It wasn't all Jordan. Then I go back and I'm like, but who would have let Rodman do some of the crazy shit he did? He did like some of just being a good coach is managing everybody but your best player. Like,
My only thing with that is Rodman was for the second three-peat. He wasn't there for the first three-peat, right?
Mm-hmm. True.
I agree. Like he definitely had to massage Rodman, but he had already, the Bulls, MJ, they had already won 3 before Rodman showed up.
Yeah. Look, Phil was a great fit, right? No question he was a great fit for that squad. Was he as important as the players? Absolutely not.
Okay, so on to one of my favorite questions of the night. LeBron James, on an uninterrupted interview, said that he started training for the NFL during the lockout. What position would LeBron best play, and what team would he best be a fit for? Byron, that's you.
Well, I'm a little curious, first of all, about his training. Was he smoking weed and committing armed robbery at some house parties? Because that seems to be the NFL training. No, but this was a fun question. Look, LeBron, the tough thing about LeBron is with his size and his strength and his athleticism, you can almost make an argument to put him really almost anywhere on the field. And so I started thinking through, he's not a quarterback. We know that, so we'll throw that out. He's not running a 4.4. He's fast. He's not running a 4.4 40. So he's not a corner. He's not a receiver. He's probably not anywhere in the safety position. We'll throw that out. I started thinking about defense. We're talking about LeBron. LeBron ain't playing defense. The guy is about scoring touchdowns, right? So he's playing offense. And so ultimately, the guy's 6'9", 250. He's a tight end, and I think everyone would agree with that. The man is a tight end. So where does he fit in? What team? The Las Vegas Raiders. First of all, how good is he going to look in that silver and black? Oh, he's just going to look good. And on top of that, you pair him with John Gruden, a man who loves his tight ends. Look at what Gruden has done with Darren Waller, who was like in fucking drug rehab or something a couple of years ago, and now he's one of the best tight ends in the league. Put LeBron lining up a tight end for a John Gruden team, Pro Bowl. That's all I got to say.
Jeremy?
Yeah, honestly, I in a way, I almost go back and forth between, given his athleticism and his size, can you even imagine him outside as a wide receiver matched up against a corner that's 5'10"? Good Lord, that would be amazing to watch. But the reality is he's more likely a tight end, in which case I would love to see him hook up with some Drew Brees down in New Orleans. You got Michael Thomas on the outside. There's no way you can stop both those guys. That offense would be absolutely unstoppable.
I like that. Charlie, go.
Well, I don't know. I mean, tight end. People been saying he would have been tight end for years. So that's a pretty good answer, although a pretty standard answer. So listen, he's the most electric player in basketball. You want to see him all the time. You want to see him with the ball in his hands. You want to see him run the offense. He does everything for his team. So I want to see this guy under center. I want to see him taking snaps, throwing the ball, running the ball. I want to see LeBron at quarterback. No linemen are going to get their hands up, block these passes. He'll get everything out there. He'll move around the pocket. He'll be athletic. He'll run it. He'll do it all. Just think of a bigger and faster Cam Newton.
Cam Newton won a Heisman.
Okay, I was totally waiting for somebody to say that too, because it's funny. You guys say like, "Oh, LeBron, he couldn't be on defense because he doesn't want to hit anybody." But you got to hit people as a tight end. You're at the line. You start off there, so it's not just easy breezy to be a tight end. But
he's a finesse tight end.
Yeah.
Charlie, what team are you putting him on at quarterback?
The Niners, of course. Seeing with the Niners. Yes, sir. With that,
I actually still think that's an upgrade.
What's that? Yeah, exactly. That's why I said it. Could use an
I think
upgrade.
that's like right there. He was just trying to like sucker me into. Oh, okay. He likes LeBron. Let me add another point here. I thought it was funny too. He also said on that interview that Jerry Jones offered him a contract. I don't know if you guys heard that part, but yeah, that was a good one.
Jerry Jones, that's so stupid.
Right?
I mean, come on. What is he? Does he want to win games, or does he just want to be in the news and be a story? I mean, this is fucking ridiculous. That's so dumb.
Plan A, Plan B.
Right? Yeah. As soon as they lose 6 games, then go to Plan B.
Anyways, okay. So on to another one of my favorite topics of the night. Jordan's shoe, game-worn shoe, number 1, got sold for $560,000. Is that crazy or what? So tell me, what's your favorite shoe, your basketball shoe? What do you like to wear out in the streets? What do you like to wear on the basketball court? Jeremy, I think that's you.
Yeah, this was the one that I really struggled with because I've never been a shoe guy ever. There was a pair of LeBrons that I had. I don't even remember what it was, but they were the most comfortable. This isn't a biased answer. I wore it for a couple seasons with you guys. I had a pair of Kobe's that just busted up my feet. But I actually went through an ESPN ranked list of like top shoes. And I actually kind of fell back in love with the pump. The D Brown pump. I would love to wear that again. So I don't know. That would be my choice. Maybe both on and off. I don't know.
Okay, nice. No, I like the bring up of the pump. That's a nice retro throwback one there. Charlie, that's you.
Well, I'm a little bit like Jeremy in that sense, especially in my later years. Although I got to wear a pair of LeBrons on the basketball court, no matter what. They last forever. They're great. They're the best basketball shoe, and I haven't worn anything else for 10 years. So love them on the court. But I used to be a little bit of a Jordan guy. Mid-year Jordan. I mean, you talk about we haven't gotten a question yet, but unbreakable sports records. Jordan 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12 flu games, 13s with the bullet holes. I mean, this was an unbelievable streak. These shoes were insane. They were so sick, and they still are today. I mean, it's unbelievable what we do with these shoes. Right in that tier, I just love every single shoe in that streak there.
Yeah, I agree with that. Byron.
All right. Well, I loved this question. I absolutely loved it. So for style, I'm going to go style and play. So for style, the Jordan 10s and Jordan 11s are both clean, right? They had the black, focus on the black and the white. You can dress them up, you can dress them down. And I wanted to try to decide between either one of them, but I couldn't because unfortunately for style, I have to throw it back to my favorite shoe of all time. It's the Penny Nike Air Ups. 1993, the sickest shoes you will ever see. Look at that pattern. My dad got me a pair of them for third grade YMCA hoops. I wish I still had them. They're the best shoe I ever owned. So that's my style. I got to go with the Nike Air Ups. For hoops, I gotta go with Kobe's, and I don't like the look of them. They're low cut. I've rolled too many ankles in them, and like Jeremy said, they bust up your feet. But in true Kobe style, that's what they're supposed to do. You're supposed to get your feet busted up, your toes bleeding, your ankles sore. You channel that inner Mamba to wear those shoes. You earn those shoes. You don't buy those shoes. So. For hoops, I got to go with the Kobe's. And just as a consolation to run up, I don't have a picture, but if you guys remember, Iversons, when he was with Reebok, he had those sick Iversons with the honeycomb where the air pocket would be. Those were fucking dope, both on court and in fashion. So I do want to give a shout out to the honeycomb Iversons.
Yeah, totally. Byron took actually both of my ones. The Jordan 11s, I mean, obviously you can wear those with a suit and they look good. I mean, it's just ridiculous how they look. I mean, that's got to be one of the best shoes of all time. And then, yeah, playing wise, I had AIs, the questions, what they're called.
Yes.
And they're like, I feel like that was like the first shoe I could actually feel the air move from front to back. And I love those shoes. And then I'm surprised Charlie didn't say this. The Shocks, the Nike Shocks.
Yeah.
Those were a good one too back in the day. So okay. Anyway, yeah. So we finished up with The Last Dance, which has got to be one of the best documentaries we've seen in a long time, at least sports wise. What documentary do you want to see next? What pops into your head? What do you want to see? What behind the scenes do you need to know? Byron, I think that's you.
This one was, for me, the hardest question on the docket because there's so many options and really so many opportunities. At first, I was leaning Mike Tyson. The guy is such an interesting story. I would love to see some Mike Tyson behind the scenes, but I actually I'm a hoops junkie and my heart lies with basketball. I went with Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett, to me, has a very interesting story to tell. The guy grew up in South Carolina, didn't even start playing hoops until his freshman year in high school. Didn't start playing organized basketball. Got involved. He got involved in some racial violence against black people in South Carolina, and up to Chicago, to Illinois, because he felt threatened. For his senior year, he wins High School Player of the Year, and he's the first guy since 1975, since Moses Malone, to go from high school to the NBA. It's commonplace now, but KG was the first guy to do it. So I'd love to hear about, number one, the trials and tribulations from high school, going from high school to the NBA, carrying a franchise on your back. And then those Boston days with KG and Ray Allen and Paul Pierce, those behind the scenes are going to be fucking great. That was a great run in NBA history that we sort of forgot about, sort of pre-LeBron, but when LeBron was on his rise in the East, those would be absolutely fantastic. The guy had a 21-year NBA career. By all accounts, he moved about 20 of his boys from South Carolina into his Minnesota mansion at 18 years old when he made it big. So there's going to be some good footage there. And the guy never been out of trouble. I think he's got a good story. I think he's got 20 years of extremely unique and very viewable content. So I'm going to go KG.
I like that. One of the best shit talkers, too. There's got to be some great footage. Yeah. I mean, remember La tastes like Cheerios or something when he said that? No one to find him outside of the locker room.
Okay. Baby cried.
Yeah, and then what's that one guy that he had no eyebrows and he's called him like a cancer patient or something like that? Yeah. Oh, so I definitely like that. 21 Savage. They should call him. Charlie, let's go with you.
All right, yeah, this is a tough one, but and I looked it up. There is a documentary out there on my story, but I just haven't seen it yet. But on June 12, 1970, the Pittsburgh Pirates faced off against the San Diego Padres, and pitcher Doc Ellis hit his only career no-hitter on LSD. Now, the way the story goes is the day before they have the day off. So they don't have a game the day before, so he goes home and he takes some LSD. So he's just having a good time, hanging out with his girlfriend. He takes a little more, and then he takes a little more later on. What he didn't realize is that last time he took it, he didn't realize the time lapse of the day, and that it was actually the next day in the morning of the game. So his girlfriend says to him, "Hey, what are you doing? You got to get dressed. You got to pitch today." And Doc Ellis is like, "What? What are you talking about? That's tomorrow." And his tell him, "No, that's today." And the guy had just said I know some part of the story where he says that he wasn't even able to see the hitter. He was just seeing objects and throwing the ball, and just it worked out for him. So it would be interesting to see that story for me. Of course, I love seeing guys get fucked up but still dominate. I love that.
Wow, that is a good one, Charlie. I've never heard that story before, so I definitely want to look into that a little bit more. It's funny, I watched just a little side note, I watched a documentary, or not even a documentary, just a show on Netflix called Bad Trip, where it was about people taking LSD and all those hallucinogens and some of the crazy stuff they did. They had the girl from Star Wars who played Leia. I guess she was a big LSD taker and shit like that, so that was kind of weird.
Doc Ellis.
But anyway, me. I don't think I saw him in that.
Yeah.
So, Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah, there was really only one that came to my mind. It came to my mind instantly, and I believe I think there was rumor that they were starting to put this together, and then it never finished. It's on the Jailblazers. I would love to see what went on in that locker room behind the scenes with those guys. You got Sheed, you got Stoudemire, you've got who else? Zebo was there at the time, John Ryder, all those high school kids. A lot of marijuana pot. I think that was when Stoudemire got busted at the airport for trying to smuggle some through with some tinfoil or something. So give me the Jailblazers, Doc. That would be highly entertaining.
Awesome. Good choices. Some of the ones I thought about were the Cowboys of the 90s.
Yeah.
A lot of drugs, a lot of drama, a lot of characters. Like, you got endless people to do it on. You got the best running back of all time. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of, I think that you could go with that. So, anyway, on to the next. Number 9. What is the most unbreakable record? I think that's you, Charlie. Let's go.
Man, there's a lot of them. You know, it's tough to choose. Gosh, you know, I don't want to take fire from my guys here, so I'll try to just pick the one. But maybe we can circle back around here. One that I actually really like. It's you might be surprised, but Wayne Gretzky won 9 MVP awards. And I think this is crazy because I look at MVP as a big time award. I look at guys in the NBA. I would like to know the opinion of basketball players in the NBA. Hey, what's more important to you, winning a championship or an MVP? I would guess that a lot of them might say MVP because, you know, that is that's a very high accolade to achieve. So, you know, I just thought that was impressive that, you know, he just dominated the league so hard. I mean, also he's miles ahead in total goals, you know, almost by 1,000 goals to the next guy. So he's just, you know, crazy how much he dominated the sport.
Funny little side stat that you said that it's pretty hard to get MVP is there's only like 40 NBA MVPs, but there's been 200 people in space, so it's actually one of the harder things to do in the world. So yeah, good point.
Well, it's like Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, and Michael Jordan make up like half of all the ever, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, something like that. They've got like 30 combined or something stupid.
Yeah, throw LeBron in there. He's got 4. Mention his name, man.
Sure.
Anyway.
I know. I got to think about my points here. Come on.
All right. For me, I've actually always thought I didn't even have to really do much research in terms of which one I knew I wanted to go with. I did some research to back it up, but it's wins by a pitcher in Major League Baseball. And this is crazy to me. So the record is 511 by Cy Young. The number 2 on that list is 417 wins. That guy's retired a long time ago. So there's almost 100 win difference between spot 1 and spot 2. To put that into perspective for you, the top 2 pitchers in baseball that are active right now, Bartolo Colon, age 46, has 247 wins. So he's got another 260 to go. And Justin Verlander, age 36, has 225 wins. He's not even halfway there. So in order to actually achieve this record, 511 wins, you have to average 21 wins per season for 24 and a half seasons. That's not going to happen, especially if baseball's talking about bringing down the total number of games from 162. It's never going to get touched.
Nice. I like that one. Byron.
This blows my mind because there are literally so many records to touch on. Cal Ripken's run, Jordan Six's. I mean, there's so I've been reading through all of these records, and every one of them is unbelievable. The one that stuck out to me, and I'm going to show you the notes if I can. It doesn't matter. It's Cy Young, and so I can't believe Jeremy snaked that. It's true. It's Cy Young. It's unbelievable. 511 career wins. That record has stood for over 100 years. Over 100 years. And like Jeremy said, you need to be a 20-win pitcher for over 2 decades to even come close to it, which will never happen. You win 20 games in a single season, you win the Cy Young Award. I mean, that's what happens, right? And with pitchers these days, as good as hitters are and pitchers throwing out their arms, that record will never be broken. I do want to give an honorable mention to the UCLA men's basketball program in Don Wooden days with Bill Walton. Chuck was pumping Bill Walton, so let me pay some homage to that. They won 88 straight games. They won from 1970-71 season all the way. They didn't lose a game until 1974, which is crazy. And you'll never see that broken again. In this modern day NCAA with the one and dones, you'll never see a team run the table like that again. So a little side note to the UCLA men's basketball program. I know Chuck wanted to circle back so he can give Emmitt Smith some love. Go ahead, Chuck.
Oh, Brett Favre. I wanted to put Brett Favre down as an honorable mention. Something like 336 interceptions. The next guy is still high, but 50 less than that at 277 or something like that. So, I mean, I don't think that, only if they keep giving Jameis Winston jobs will anybody have a chance at beating Brett Favre's interceptions record.
Yeah, I'm surprised Byron said that because I kind of put him down too. Because just the diminishing role of the running back, I mean, they don't even use the running back barely anymore. So that record is going to be hard to touch. And then I'm surprised nobody said Joey motherfucking Chestnut. This man ate 78 hot dogs. That's pretty rough. It's like ridiculous.
It's brutal.
Okay.
You're surprised no one said that? Is that what you said?
Yeah. That's a true athlete right there. A man's man. Anyway, another one of my favorite questions of the night. Favorite sports analyst? So, who is your favorite? We got Skip, we got Stephen A, Shannon, all those guys.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So, let's start off with you, Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm curious if this extends to does this extend to the TNT crew, like Charles Barkley and those guys? Okay.
Sure.
So for me, it's Charles Barkley, hands down. The dude cracks me up every time I watch him, whether he's forgetting something, saying somebody's name wrong, just flat out says something stupid. And just the back and forth he has with that crew. The chemistry is amazing. Barkley, hands down. Love watching the guy.
That's a good one. I did not think of that. That's a good one. Charlie, let's go.
That ain't no problem.
Uh-oh.
That ain't no problem. Dude, it's all about Shannon Sharp. Dude, you gotta love fucking Shannon Sharp coming out. Skip. I love it. It's all about Shannon Sharp. Comes out with cigars, Swisher Sweets, and bottles of Henny. You just love to see it. It's got to be Shannon Sharp.
Okay, nice. Byron.
Boy, this one was tough because there's, first of all, we all get the same sports news, right? No matter who you listen to, what you watch, you get the same information, and the question is, how is it presented to you, and what do you enjoy the most? Like Matthew Berry, his writing is fantastic. If you ever read his fantasy columns, he's fucking terrible on TV. I hate Matthew Berry when I see him, right? I can't even watch him. Max Kellerman is a pro's pro. He knows his stuff. He's smug and arrogant and does nothing for me, right? I really like Jalen Rose. I wanted to make Jalen Rose my pick because he's got some swagger to him, and he has that inside edge because he's been in the league. He's a bit of a bad boy. He's straightened out. He has the inside perspective.
You better not say Colin Coward.
I do love Colin Coward, but I'm not going to say Colin Coward. My favorite sports analyst is Bomani Jones. I love him. He's fantastic. I love Bomani because he doesn't just fucking drown you in stats like a Skip Bayless. Oh, he's like 24.4% blah. He doesn't drown you in stats. Bomani just tells you how it is. And he never sounds like rehearsed. Frankly, when I hear Bomani, it's like I'm talking with a buddy of mine over a beer about sports, and I love that. I love that about Bomani. So I got to go Bomani Jones.
Nicely done. Two of them out there I did not expect. Charles Barkley and Bomani Jones. Did not see that coming. But just to throw mine out there, Skip Bayless for me. He's gotten a little ridiculous now just because he's so on the LeBron hate. But I feel like in the first 7 or 9 years, he was pretty spot on with what he was saying about LeBron. And it fucking broke my heart every time. I was like addicted to hearing it too. They're like, yeah, he's right, but fuck! So yeah, that's good. All right, so those are all the questions for tonight in the lead, except for the final round. Let's see who's going to the final round. In the lead is Charlie with 20 points. And coming up in second is Jeremy with 19 points, leaving Byron in the finale tonight with a measly 18 points, losing by 1 point. That one's got to hurt. That's got to hurt. So,
how we're going to round the hate on both contestants.
How we're going to do this is I'm going to give each person 30 seconds on the timer. And I'll give you the topic right before. Since Charlie, you were in the lead, do you want to go first or you want to go second?
I'll go first.
Okay. Ooh, whoa, confident, man. Let's go. All right. Out of a career, who would you rather have? Charles Barkley or Robert Horry? Would you rather be the guy of a non-championship team or just the guy on a bunch of championship teams? Ready, set, go.
I'd rather be Charles Barkley. I mean, if your question encompasses their actual bodies and their actual people, then it might be different. But Charles Barkley is a storied player. Everyone knows Charles Barkley. He's probably got a little bit more money than Robert Horry. He's still got a good paying job, and he's loved by many. So, Charles Barkley.
Nicely done, Jeremy.
All right, no, I'm going the opposite, man. I'm going Robert Horry, and here's why. First of all, I'm the extreme poor man's version of Robert Horry. I rode this shake and bake team to a championship, and it felt great. All right, I've got the championship shirt. Got to celebrate with you guys, which is amazing. I got to enjoy all the wins with doing half the work, if that. So I'll take Robert Horry.
Nicely done. So there's a second part to this, and this one's a would you rather. Would you rather walk in on your dad doing a dog or a dog doing your dad? Ready, go, Charlie.
I got stomach my dad doing the dog because he's got to step it up. He's got to be a man. He's got to get the job done. He's got to show dominance. So we got to go that route for sure.
Okay, Jeremy.
Yeah, damn, I can't argue against that. Those were all the points I was going to make. At least be the dominant one in this horrible nightmare that I'm watching, please.
Ding, 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 ding. Charlie's tonight's winner. Way to man up on the last question. Just take it. Let's hear what you got to say.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I got a lot to say, but I won't bother you too much. I just want to say, God,
sorry, nothing ready.
Wow! After all the shit he gave
I'm
me,
pulling a Jeremy. This is a dedication to my guy Jeremy in week 2. I got nothing to say, but thank you guys.
Wow.
I love you guys.
Wow!
This has been fun.
Nice one, guys.
This is some bullshit.
Wow!
Oh man, you're happy now, Charlie, but man, good luck on finding some fucking questions next week, because god damn, we are running out of shit to talk about.
It's rough,
dude. It's not
rough.
easy.
It's rough out there.
It's not easy picking those questions and judging.
No, God, I would die for something to talk about, like some actual games, not just like hypothetical.
I'm with you.
Well,
We'll
I loved
figure
it. I
something
loved
out.
it like I love it every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Love the jerseys in the background. Nice job.
Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah,
Good job. Great host
absolutely.
job, Devo. Great job, everyone.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right,
All right,
guys.
we'll see everybody next week.
Later.
All right. See you guys. Good night.